Okay, now we're on our second module, which is building loyalty with databases. And this is something we have touched on quite a lot this semester because, of course, this is the primary use of a database in marketing. These are your customers. They are here, and you can reach them so efficiently. You've seen this image many, many times, and this is a happy puppy and a close and warm relationship. And of course, the goal of database marketing is a long-term relationship between the customer and the company. And the goal is also genuine customer satisfaction. So let's talk about now the things we can do. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just take a few minutes, because we've covered so much of this already, and just think through what you already know about this topic. So I want you to write down the steps you would take to use your database to build loyalty with your customers. I want you to think about things we've talked about in class. What is the first step? What's the second step? What's the third step? I also want you to think about your workshop project and your own database that you're building. So write down the key steps. Obviously, you're finding MVCs, you're segmenting people using external databases. What do you do after that? What do you do after that? What do you do after that? Take a minute and write those things down, and you're going to submit them to me via a mechanism TBD. Okay, so let's talk about the process of loyalty building and what contributes to it. And of course, I want to take you back to our purchase funnel. This is one of my favorite illustrations, my favorite symbols, because it really puts in one picture almost everything we do in marketing, because it's all about marketing is supposed to move someone from somewhere in the purchase funnel, hopefully down, and eventually into loyalty and advocacy and a long-term relationship. So obviously the consumers that we're talking about here have purchased, so they're kind of in the middle of the purchase funnel already, and they are, how do you move them down? And of course, the first thing has got to be high quality products. You've got to deliver a product or a service that performs or outperforms expectations. The second is excellent service and support. Third is the friendly, loyal staff. That's the staff that provides some of the service and support. Of course, some of the service and support is also automated. And another key factor, this is from your book, and it's certainly true, is since we don't have the luxury of knowing every one of our customers personally by name, like the old corner grocer, we have got to rely on an automated communication system that is functions based on different events and triggers and sends out personalized communications that are meaningful to the customer and that encourage the customer to take more steps in the company relationship. Sometimes, by the way, it could be a survey. Surveys can give very valuable information about and help you learn more about your customers and what their preferences are in terms of how you deal with them, or if they have any complaints or concerns, how they want to be contacted by phone, by email, by text. And you can also get more demographic and psychographic information, kinds of magazines they read, things like that. So just kind of building on this theme here, obviously you are, again, going to be using the database to look for your MVCs. You're going to be segmenting your database into workable segments, no more than 10 is the advice that we're given. And what you're trying to do with each segment is to determine a path. Actually, it's a path not just for the segment, but for every customer. The path being, what is the communications plan against that customer based on their behavior? And the path obviously has the goal of moving them down the purchase funnel. Quick example here. A lot of people, companies believe that in addition to welcoming someone after their first purchase, thanking them for the business and getting some feedback, you also want to encourage them to make another purchase. So you have some kind of offer. You're sending them an offer on a good that may be related to the thing they already bought. That certainly is what Amazon does. So for many times, the first two steps in that path is, first one is the welcome email. The second is, how can we get you to buy something else? Let's give you an offer to come back and make another purchase within a certain time frame. And after that, the path is is triggered by different events, etc. And then the other thing that we're really building here, in addition to this idea of affection, is really what we're building is trust. The consumer, your customer, needs to trust you and trust the company, that the company is going to do a good job meeting their needs. And if there are problems, those problems will be fixed and there'll be flexibility. So building loyalty is first building trust. And a key part of that is this personalized HTML transaction messages that go out quickly, based on what somebody does. You also want to be fast. If they give you input or have complaints or requests, you want to fulfill them in seconds. If it's certain requests, you want to do it within hours tops. And again, you want to ask for preferences via surveys, and you can modify your offerings communication based on that. So loyalty building communications is it's the replacement for the old corner grocer. So let's just talk a little bit more about customer service. One of the key drivers after a good product, etc., is customer service. So how important is customer service to developing an MBC? And I know each of you can sit there and think about different companies where you've been really impressed and it's really helped the relationship, and maybe some other companies where it hasn't helped so much. I've actually got a little situation now in my life where I bought movie tickets using Fandango a couple of weeks ago. And then right after I bought them, for my friend and me, realized that I had managed brilliantly to buy a time when I was supposed to drive my daughter back to her bus to go back to college. So I emailed my friend and said, "Oh, we're going to have to move, cancel this." And I went on Fandango. I wasn't aware I could actually cancel tickets. I thought you were going to be kind of stuck with them. But they do have an option now where you can go on, I think, particularly if it's before the airing of the movie. And you have an option to either get a refund to your method of payment, which of course is going to take like 3 weeks or something like that, which is ridiculous, but that's what they say. You can do that, or you can get a credit, and the credit will be applied to your next purchase at Fandango. So I just said, oh, what the heck, I go to a fair amount of movies, let me get the credit. And that's what I checked. And then in thinking about it over the last few weeks, it's like I can't find anything I really want to see right now. I'm afraid I'm going to forget about that credit, and so I went into a chat session on Fandango. I said, well, can you just convert my credit into a refund? No, sir. Once you have made that selection, we have no way of going back and changing it to a refund. I said, well, of course you do. You've got a system set up. You've got the money there somewhere in your books and in your purview. Anyway, blah, 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 and I was transferred to a supervisor, and everybody gives me the same story. Once it's in the You've made that decision, sir. We cannot go back and do anything. And I had to explain to them, well, you need to understand, I teach a database customer relationship class. And I can tell you that the companies that are not flexible are not going to build loyal customers. And of course, no one I was talking to cared particularly about that. But anyway, it's just a little example of, a company saying, you can't have it your way. And it's maddening. Now, the link to the LL Bean site here that you're looking at, LL Bean is very famous for exchanging products for any reason, even, years after the purchase. So I'm sure if you don't know people, I'm sure some of you in the class there know some people who bought from LL Bean who've sent the hunting boots. This is their most famous product, the Maine hunting boot. They've sent them back like 30 years later and gotten basically new boots. But guess what? This link shows you that LL Bean just changed their policy, and they're now only taking things back up to a year after you buy it. Interesting change. What are the implications of that? Why do you think LL Bean did that? Was it a good move or not a good move? Anyway, what are your thoughts? Then we've got another thing here where lots of the business studies, case studies that we've looked at in previous classes. I mean, we talked about a lot about Wells Fargo. We talked about United Airlines in previous classes. Those of you who've had them with me, we've watched the great video, great in quotation marks, of that poor customer being dragged off United Airlines flight. Of course, the issue is that many times the employees who deal with the customers are getting minimum wage or just a little above minimum wage. The company may not be doing very much to motivate them. In fact, in Wells Fargo's case, it was basically browbeating the employees to open up 10 accounts a day. So smart companies take another approach. They regard the employees who deal day to day with customers, whether it's at a hotel or a restaurant or whatever it is, as among the most important employees in the company. And smart companies reward those employees, give them a sense of ownership in the company, give them clear goals, give them some responsibility to make decisions. And a very good example of that I heard about last semester in one of my classes. I had a student who worked part-time at Chipotle here in the city, and she came in and showed us the Chipotle benefit program and how they treated employees. And this link will take you to the benefits program at Chipotle, where you'll see that even part-time employees get health insurance. And promotion at Chipotle is really through the ranks. People have clear goals, and if you're someone who makes those goals, you can end up running. First, you would run one restaurant and then several restaurants, and before long, you're making a six-figure salary. So you folks as future managers and bosses need to recognize that the right thing to do is to positively motivate those employees who are dealing with customers. Cross-selling is another factor within another one of the goals of things that we want to do to build loyalty. And you all know that that's the idea of selling one consumer different types of products. And importantly, this is exactly what got Wells Fargo in trouble. So cross-selling, though, is another important goal and another thing that's done in building loyalty and building the customer relationship. But basically, in terms of takeaway thoughts, let's go back here. And here they are. So building loyalty is made easier with emails and texts. You make more money on loyal customers. Always call them by name and personalize things. A very important point. It's the reason I liked your textbook so much, because it has a lot of practical, real-world advice. Using a universal ID, one ID number for a customer, so when they call, it pops up and you can pull their file. Everyone's actions determine loyalty, and of course you want to acquire the right customers. So loyalty building with databases. That's what a lot of this course is about. And next you guys are going to have a quiz. And again, it's multiple choice. Please take a minute, fill it out, and submit it. I will take a look at it and grade it. If you need to look back at the slides a little bit, that will certainly be fine. and then we will move on to our third and final